can't tell characters about the Gameoverse. I had to.
Yeah, you get it. Think a T-Rex named Gobbles would, like, eat everything in sight, you know? Has some big-ass mouth and razor-sharp teeth.
Shut the fuck up!
Anal sex without lube. That's what it is.
You knew? You knew?
Not only did this whole entire thing sound bad on paper, but it was executed poorly as well. Okay, so the Gameoverse pilot just came out, and I want to talk about it because honestly, I do not think it's good, and I think it's paced poorly. So let's talk about it real quick. Gameoverse is something that's made by Glitch Studios, and I do remember hearing about it back on Twitter a few months ago when there was a poster for it, and it seemed interesting. It seemed like it was going to be fun, but when the trailer came out, I had my concerns because it seemed like it was going to be like, you know, every other glitch animation project. And also the concept seemed really weird. It seemed like ridiculously stupid on paper, but you know, if you execute it well, then at that point it doesn't really matter. But I also thought that, you know, when you just look at the poster of the show, right, it would seem like it would be one of those shows where it's fun, it's lighthearted, and you know, it would just be entertaining, right? But not saying it has to be that way, but I was disappointed when I found out just by watching the trailer that it wasn't going to be that way. But I decided to give it a chance anyways, and I was disappointed because the pacing was awful, and everything that was said, the way the voice acting was, everything felt forced. Everything felt arbitrary. For example, that one person called misinformation and her friend Paper, not a friend or whatever, I don't really care. Those two, instead of them actually feeling like characters, it felt like the writers went and said, hey look, these characters are quirky. And why did it feel that way? Well, because the pacing was so fast to the point where instead of them actually feeling like genuine characters, it just felt like the writers were showing off that, hey, these guys are quirky.
No. There's a Farcade recon ship in our way, sir.
So is it a problem or not?
Yes! As long as it doesn't get to the game world, we're fine. If you're having trouble, shoot where they're going instead of where they are. If you're having trouble...
Look how fun they are, instead of actually making it seem like they're actual characters. As a matter of fact, that's pretty much how the rest of this pilot goes. It's like they're just showing off instead of actually trying to do things the right way. And the way they do it, it's like we're supposed to already know these characters, but we don't know these characters. They're trying to actually, like, you know, show that, hey, this person has trauma, or hey, this person has character development, but they do it in a way as if we've grown with these characters when we haven't. And it's so weird to me, and it's so forced, and that's pretty much why this pilot is just bad in general. You can see like many examples of this throughout the pilot. Now, from the first 2 minutes or the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you can see that it's showing pretty much what the concept of the show is about. And it's about how anytime someone beats a game, the whole entire planet is going to be destroyed and it's going to explode. And the way that it shows this, once again, the pacing is just awful. Because apparently, like, that is supposed to be her actual backstory, but the way it's shown, it's like it's only a dream. And she does say that, like, yeah, she had the same dream, but if that's also her backstory and that's what she's dreaming of, then that just shows how terrible the pacing is, because it goes over her backstory so fast to the point where you would think that it's only her dream and nothing else. Simply because dreams like that are intentionally meant to be confusing. But if that wasn't meant to be confusing, like, yeah, like, it's just way too fast paced. Not a good way to introduce us to the story. And the dialogue of this show reminds me of, like, back in 2018, I was in 8th grade when I was trying to actually, you know, have realistic dialogue, and I just sounded like a fucking idiot. And this is the exact same kind of dialogue I'm seeing right now. It's like middle schoolers think that this is interesting. This is not good dialogue, and instead it actually ruins your show. Like, the whole entire time I'm looking at what these people are saying, it's just like the whole entire thing I'm thinking about is that they're just opening their mouths.
Yeah, you get it. Think a T-Rex named Gobbles would, like, eat everything in sight, you know? Has some big-ass mouth and razor-sharp teeth.
Do you need help? Maybe a song to help you focus. Do you know Hickory Dickory Dock?
Can you hickory dickory shut the hell up? Unless you can get the textile density on some of these assets to match the scale topography by freeing up some resources, much faster than it would take to pre-bake with different LODs because we are— Shut the fuck up!
That's all they're doing. They're just saying anything and thinking that it sounds interesting or that it sounds unique, and it doesn't. They're just saying shit, and it's annoying. And it doesn't help that the pacing just makes it that much worse. Now, when it comes to the word slop, it has been used many times, and you know, it can be overused, and it's kind of brain rot at this point. But honestly, this one definitely deserves a slop term, and it's not going to be called indie slop, although that would be a good term to call it. We're going to call it trauma slop. This is trauma slop, and we're going to be going over why. Now, if you remember earlier in the video, I did talk about how I was disappointed in the trailer simply because of how it felt like it was going to be focused on trauma again, but I did decide to give it a chance anyways. But the thing here is that the way that the trauma is used here is just overly forced, just like everything else in the pilot. Like when she first has a trauma response for when she's being told that she needs to focus on, you know, finding the player so that they don't complete the game and so that the planet doesn't explode, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because for one, when she talks about needing to find this person that, you know, it's all she has left, for one, we don't know their relationship. Now, they could build their relationship, but, you know, having this trauma scene and acting as if like we know these characters and that, you know, we should feel some sort of connection at that point just feels forced. And also, the switch from being controlled and being calm to suddenly being traumatic simply because she's being asked to focus on the main mission of preventing the planet from exploding so that, you know, it doesn't happen. It just felt like it was only being done to show like, hey, this character is traumatic. Like, hey, look, we have a traumatic character. That's what this felt like. Instead of her just actually having a more mature response to the situation and saying like, no, we're going to find whatever the Rock character's name is. That was kind of the response she had at first, but I think she could have kept going with that because it would show her determination and it would make her feel more firm. But because this is a show where it's centered around trauma again for like the 4th or 5th freaking time, unfortunately we can't have that. We can't have characters that, you know, have that kind of determination. We gotta have relatability, right? And it's not something that I want to go too far in the direction of shooting down, because people have stories that they want to tell, of course, but when it's done in an arbitrary way, I don't think it's good. Now later on, when Kit goes through another breakdown, we see how this show clearly just isn't good, and it clearly shows that it has bad writing, because not only is it doing a forced traumatic scene, but it's using forced character development. And it's using forced character development with the Lernosaurus or the purple Barney dinosaur, whatever you want to call him. I don't care. These characters are not memorable. Like Barney, that's what we'll call him. Barney didn't do anything to actually earn his development. And there wasn't anything earned or shown to have him say like, hey, I learned from you. What did you learn from her?
If you beat Snappers and win the game, this whole world is going to explode!
Kid, what are you doing? You can't tell characters with the Gameoverse. I have to!
Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? You can't tell characters about the Gameoverse. I had to!
You knew? You knew?
And why are you suddenly different than how you were 16 minutes ago? That makes no sense. You were like a child, but because you're a Lernosaurus, okay, now you want to be an adult? Now you want to be the one to give therapy? Like, what are we talking about? And we see what they are doing, because on Twitter, yes, Twitter, but believe me, these opinions are valid. They're criticizing it and they're giving pretty valid complaints about it, because we are seeing that this whole entire thing is just appealing to people who think that just because there's trauma in it, that automatically makes it good, and that's just not the case here. And in reality, this is going to expose a lot of YouTubers who are going to just blindly praise it without actually using critical thinking, because you know, the only reason why I can see you would think that this is good is if you are just, you know, someone who blindly praises indie animation, okay, and you're just gonna give it a pass because it's indie. But I don't think it gives it a pass. There is just way too many middle schooler mistakes that is in this pilot, and Glitch Studios has had enough experience to know how to actually do a proper show and actually do something professionally. So I don't think that that should excuse it, and they should know better by now. But yeah, not only did this whole entire thing sound bad on paper, but it was executed poorly as well.
This debacle, this mess, this massive pile of shit. Anal sex without lube. That's what it is.
And I think it could have been a lot better, which is the sad thing. So hopefully, I hope the offer didn't intend for this, because I can see how there can be some influence when it comes to Glitch and the whole trauma thing. But anyways, yeah, I think it should embrace its poster and actually have a more lighthearted tone. You know, do some workarounds, you know, do some, you know, reevaluations, because I think this would work much better as a lighthearted show that isn't trying to pander to a certain crowd. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and look forward to the next one.